What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
Greetings to everyone out there in the YouTube land. I'm Ahmed Hassanin, and I just want to give a shout out to Coach Dan. Thank you for all the support you show the team and the players. Everyone hit the like, subscription button, and yell woo in the comments. Thank you, and go Lions.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host, once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Lions Talk Live, morning show edition. And yes, we've got the NFL Combine underway. We've got a lot of things popping on out, and there have been some players of interest that are already starting to emerge for the Detroit Lions. We're going to analyze a few of the breakout players. Not going to be a full hour show today. I do have some stuff today. For those who don't know, I am a realtor, and yes, I've got to show some houses, including to somebody you guys probably all know, or at least a lot of you guys know, a prominent other YouTuber who's looking for some properties, and I got to get a little prepared for it. We're going to talk about some options for the Lions because there are a whole lot of options for the Lions at both the offensive side, the defensive side. We'll have to wait and see. There's one player in particular. Yes, we can see it in the main thumbnail for today's show, but there's going to be a lot of people of interest. Who's going to be the biggest interest? Who's the Lions really going to move up for, back for, whatever it may be? Well, we got a long time to the NFL draft, so we're going to break some stuff down in between all that. Before we get into the main topic of the day, though, as you guys probably already know, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We need 5 more subs to get to 16,200, so if you can help out with that, that would be great. Also, if you got a half second of time, completely free of charge, reach on down, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. Last, never least, if you're considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan where I can personally work for you to try to help you out, or the continental United States, I got to do some things a little differently outside of the state of Michigan. But if you're wherever you may be, go ahead and give me a call, shoot me a text. You see the number on your screen, 269-998-2384. As I look over my head, yes, the Duke Crew command center is under attack by the wife. She is doing some work in here to change some things. So some of this is a little slapped together for today's show. All right, all that done, set out of the way. Let's go ahead and get over to the main topic of the day and break this all down. I'm going to have to copy and paste some graphics to get them over to you guys. But 1, 2, 3, main topic of the day. All right, main top of the day, we've got some stuff. One of the people I'm going to bring up, there's a whole lot of people you could bring up, but one of the people I'm going to bring up who's in the main thumbnail for today's show is somebody we've talked about for a while on Lions Talk Live, even in some of my mock drafts, I guess you could say, that we've had so far. We've had 2 so far. And a person of interest for me, just because I love being able to do different things on defense. I love people that can affect the defense a whole lot, especially when you're talking about something like football. This gentleman right here, he's catching a lot of national attention. Sonny Styles. Yes, I know we've talked about him a bit, but you see these numbers, you see them, and you just go, these are generationally rare. You think about somebody like Jack Campbell, when he really caught a whole lot of attention during the combine. Part of it was his lat quickness or speed, 40 times different than lat speed. So you look at this 10-yard split. For those who don't know, how quickly can you get to your max speed, 10-yard split, vertical jump off the chart. You look at the broad jump, and then I get everybody's going to say, wow, that 40 time, especially for a guy, 250 pounds, etc. That's just something you don't see a lot of. You think about him next to Jack Campbell. What do you think about the possibilities the Lions could have out there? You want to think about some of the people he compares to? Well, let's compare him to some other people then. Let me bring this up on the screen. 1 second, if you please. And he's not by no means the only option for Detroit. He's just one of the more prominent options, if he's still available at pick 17. Or I guess the Lions could trade up a little bit. So look at the size of him. Compare him to Kelvin Johnson. Well, he's the same height. How about Robinson, the running back for the Falcons? Hey, look at that 40 time. Pretty similar. Weight. You look at him versus Derrick Henry. Pretty dang similar. Broad jump. And, you guys can go down the list here for everybody. And that's LeBron James as far as the vertical jump there at the very bottom. Sorry if some of the graphics aren't always the best. Hey, do what I can quickly on air for you. When you look at the combine so far, we still got a lot of ways to go with things. Yes, the Lions may have to address the cornerback situation. We're going to have to wait and get more clarity on what's going on with Terrion Arnold. But you have heard more conversations starting to emerge. Lions are looking heavily into the cornerback spot, and it could be just because Terrion Arnold's uncertainty, the fact that we've got a gajillion free agents. But I think we can all agree the Lions are going to have a lot of options to them at pick 17 where they want to trade up slightly to get somebody back somewhere. So far with the NFL Combine, what are your thoughts, Drew Crew? If you've been paying attention to it, you've seen some of the safety scores. And I get, athleticism isn't everything with an athlete. You have to, especially as a football player, you've got to be a football player first who can also be an athlete. Otherwise, I think we all agree every team in the NFL would assign Usain Bolt to be probably a deep threat wide receiver. Unfortunately for Usain Bolt, he's not a football player. He is, or at least was, incredibly athletic. You can watch a whole lot of stuff with the NFL Combine, and yes, you're going to see offensive linemen going up here pretty quick. You're seeing all sorts of scores with some of the edge rusher, safeties, wide, just a gajillion different things. But when you see someone like Styles, does he now become a bigger interest for you? Do you think we should go away from him? There will be some that say, man, his play at OSU was not bad at all. It could have been more, though. While he's this athletic, why didn't he pop out more? There will be some comparisons, and this is probably going to show my age a little bit, to Boss Bailey, even though it wasn't that incredibly long ago. Boss Bailey, if you don't remember him, he was drafted by Detroit Lions, a linebacker. Champ Bailey, Hall of Fame cornerback, was his brother. Just never really kind of got right in the NFL. Not that he didn't have a good career, just not like the career everybody thought with his scores that he would have. When you think about the Combine, where do you think, after what we've seen so far, Detroit should go with things? My personal belief is still this. It doesn't have to be Sonny Styles or anything like that. But I think you're seeing so many of the defensive scores really emerge. And yes, the Lions, in my opinion, need more defense. They need more playmakers. And I want to say at linebacker, corner, safety, and edge. And you're seeing a whole lot of athletes pop up there with just generational scores. You're seeing more and more safeties run close to the 4.4, 4.45. And while speed isn't everything, let me tell you, it's one of those things it's better to have and not need, and need and not have. I can't even remember the guy. Oh, gosh, in the Quinn Trisha era that we traded up for him to get in the second round cornerback. And, man, I was like, this guy's like 4.8 speed. And, yeah, maybe a zone corner, deep zone corner, he was okay. But he got roasted, in my personal opinion, in the NFL. I can't remember his name, so apologies for that. But he didn't last with Detroit very long. I want to say just one season or something like that. All right, winners and losers from the NFL Scouting Combine. Let's throw some names out, you guys. See what you think so far. Let's go with Davis, cornerback from Washington. His name is jumping up a lot across the pantheon, especially with his scores. Why is that? Well, he's roughly 6'4", 200 pounds, with a 33, well, so just round up very slightly here and say 34-inch arms. So letting him go out there and do that at that size, we talked about, at least in my view, the Lions, part of their issues last year in pass coverage is, one, you couldn't get to the quarterback consistently enough in 3 seconds or less. The other part is you have a whole lot of 5'8", 5'9" guys guarding 6'6", 6'4", 6'3". That's a bad matchup, especially once Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph went down. You have less safety over the top, or consistent safety over the top help. That gave a big problem. So you might want to check him out. He is jumping up the charts, especially after the Combine. Dennis Sutton, defensive end from Penn State. We're going to talk about until the end of time until the Lions get somebody consistently opposite Aiden Hutchinson who puts up numbers. Defensive end edge is going to be something all Lions fans want. Check him out. How about Caleb Banks, the defensive tackle out of Florida? 330-plus pound guys with a 32-inch vertical. And again, not that these scores mean everything. They are the Pajama Olympics. But when you see the potential of people, now Can you take those numbers and what you see as a coach or a scout or whatever, as far as their game tape, does that now make them more enticing? I'll leave that to you guys to digest. Number 12 on this list, we got Charles Demings, cornerback, Stephen F. Austin. And yes, I got a little tongue-tied twist with that. Sorry about that. 42-inch vertical leap. That's pretty dang good. 4.41 second 40. Again, not bad. He is 6'1.5" and roughly 200 pounds. So again, does he become a person of interest? You're going to see a whole lot of stuff here as far as defensive players that if the Lions want to go defense, I think they're going to have some real options. The last mock draft I had, so Lions Talk Live mock draft 2.0, I did have the Lions taking this gentleman, and yes, he put up massive combine numbers. He is a quarterback. He is number 11 on this list, and that's Taylon Green, the quarterback from Arkansas. 4.36 seconds in the 40-yard dash, 230 pounds, 6'6", cannon for an arm. He's not going to be a day 1 or day 2 option, I would think, for teams. But what about day 3 or 4? Maybe even 5 if he really slides. I personally believe somebody's going to take a flyer on him, probably around pick 3 or round 3. His scores are what they are. Now, keep in mind with all this stuff, I don't have access to what, as far as interviews, personality evaluations, stuff like that. Because, yes, those do matter exponentially. As much as your 40 time matters, your personality matters a ton as well. That's why Brad and Dan avoid some prospects. But Taylon Green, I think he's going to be drafted by somebody, and it's probably going to be sort of like Hendon Hooker. Maybe not the greatest example, but you're going to see teams trying to trade up and get him because of all the raw potential. He's not going to be ready to be an NFL quarterback, I would assume, in day 1 or day 2. Or I should say year 1 or year 2, but you start getting to year 3, if you really take time to grow them and develop them, I think you got something there. And again, pay attention to them. How about Bernard, the wide receiver out of Alabama? Hey, this kid, I don't think he's going to be a Detroit Lion, so just because I don't think Detroit Lions need any wide receivers. But as far as the list, as far as guys who are really popping off the charts of the combine, he's number 10 on the list. I'm going to move on from him again because, again, I don't think the Lions are going to even remotely look at wide receiver. I say that in round 1 and 2, maybe they'll select one, but let's hope not. How about Grayson Halton, defensive tackle out of Oklahoma, 6'3.5", 300 pounds, a little light for sure, but he can definitely disrupt and get after the quarterback. The third best mark he put up, I should say, at the combine, the third best mark for any defensive player, defensive tackle player over the last 20 years, just all over the place, raw athlete. Brandon Fisk, light, is probably a good comparison there. Disruptive style. If you want an interior pass rusher at the DTI spot, this is probably somebody of interest. Again, I don't think the Lions are going to draft in round 1 or 2 a defensive tackle. Been completely wrong before, but if you want to just check him out, I would say check out Halton from Oklahoma. All right, again, another person I've got high on the list because of the combine and other stuff for sure, but I don't think the Lions are going to have any interest in it. And Skylar Bell, wide receiver out of UConn, just check him out. I'm not going to give you all the scores because, again, probably not a person of interest. This one, though, is Stuck, safety out of Arizona. You won't find many people on planet Earth that can play the safety position and run arguably a sub 4.3. Now, his official clock time at the combine was 4.33, but there have been unofficial times having him sub 4.3. Hits, covers, day 2 selection, needs some further polishing as far as coverage goes or whatever, and is coming off a partially torn anterior cruciate ligament in 2024. That's probably all that's going to hold him back a little bit. I know every Lions fan watching the show right now is going to say, hey, we don't want guys with injuries. It's football. They're all going to have some injuries, whether it's sooner or later, but check him out from Arizona. How about Stowers, tight end from Vanderbilt? Again, I don't think it's highly likely the Lions would take a tight end in round 1 or 2, but if they did, it's probably not a good sign for Sam Laporta. Probably means the Lions are looking to move off him. So at least somewhat pay attention to Eli. He ran a 4.5140. Oh, man, 11.11-3 broad jump, just all over the charts with stuff. 45.5-inch mark, while also ripping off, like I said, the 4.51 40-yard dash time. He's got hands. His showing, however, highlighted his considerable potential as a little bit of a slot kind of receiver / tight end. His blocking assignments, I'm going to be fair here. when watching some tape on him, I just said his blocking was meh. It was okay. It wasn't great, but I didn't watch a ton of tape on him getting ready for today's show. So I want to be fair and just say, in my view, I'm giving him an incomplete because I didn't have enough time to check out everybody on the list at that detailed level. All right, let's move on from that to number 5 on the list. That's Lawrence, the defensive end / linebacker from UCF. 6'4", 253 pounds, known primarily for his long arms. He's got 34, rough, I'm rounding up slightly, 34-inch arms. Step above the rest in explosiveness, runs a 4.540, trailed only, I think, 2 guys as far as in the combine at his positions. Vertical jump, broad bump, jumper off the charts. And again, these are combine numbers. These are pajama Olympics numbers. You're not wearing pads. You're not hitting anybody. Nobody's hitting you. It's just raw athletic scores. You need to take what you see in the combine and combine it with what you see in the tape on the field. So keep that in mind. But he's probably somebody of interest, at least to a certain degree. Does he fit the primary goals or aspirations of Dan Campbell as far as a big end? No. But if you're going to use him sort of like Derek Barnes as a pseudo defensive end / linebacker, I don't think he'd be an ideal fit because Derek Barnes is already here, but he's definitely somebody he caught a lot of eyes at the combine. Number 4 on this list, not going to be an option for the Detroit Lions, in my humble opinion. Washington Jr., running back out of Arkansas. I'm just bringing him up for one reason. If you're going to move off Dave Montgomery, and if you were, I guess, thinking about not re-signing Jahmyr Gibbs, then you might be looking at Mike Washington Jr., 6'1", 223 pounds. Head-turning numbers, 4.33 40-yard dash. The vertical and broad jump, especially for his weight and mass size as a running back, was off the charts. And that's a 10-8. So you guys get it. He's an athlete. Somebody's going to go after. I just don't think it's going to be the Detroit Lions. Somebody, though, else we're going to talk about here, and then I'm going to kill this last time. Dylan Theismann, safety out of Oregon. You're going to see, if you check out all the scores, there's a whole lot of safeties in this draft, in probably round 1 through round 3 options that are just incredibly God-given, athletically rare. Where he's going to go, I don't know. Leave that to you guys, but he's 6'1", 201 pounds, ran a 4.3540, comfortable taking on anybody in coverage, so tight ends, running backs, some wide receivers. He's not going to match them up against every team's number 1 or 2 wide receiver, but could be sort of like Brian Branch, take on the number 3s, the slot guys, stuff like that. People he can get his hands on. Yes, I think he's good at that. He flips his hips like a cornerback. That's one thing. If you do watch him on tape, you're going to see this guy can cover. He can hit. He does a lot of good stuff. I'm giving you a ton of different guys. I get it. So grab a pen and paper, write some notes down. If you want to check out highlights on your own, by all means, you can rewind this, get the names, and check them out. But I think he's going to be a big one for people to check out. Number 2 on this list, also not a real consideration for Detroit, but Caden, boy, I'm going to kill this one, Schick's tight end from Oregon. And again, probably murdered the name. Apologies if I've offended anybody. I do that often on the show with my pronunciation of words and names. But he's blazing fast, sub 4.4 for a tight end, 4.39 speed for a tight end. You don't see that hardly ever, and especially at a 6'3.5", so we'll just say 6'4". He's 6'3" to 4. Maybe we'll go with that. 241 pounds. Blocking assignments, I will say this. I did go watch some, not a ton, getting ready for the show. He blocks pretty well. Needs to get better, especially with his hand placements in the first initial blocking. He needs to be able to control any kind of defensive end or linebacker or whatever he's going to face. But if you're talking about just somebody getting out running in space, I only really put him on the list along with the other tight ends because Brad Holmes right now, the only person we can say he didn't re-sign is TJ Hawkins in the tight end position. There have been some reports the Lions may not try to re-sign or may try to trade Samuel Laporta. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to keep him. But to be fair, could the Lions just not value re-signing tight ends enough to where they keep selecting new people and keep the process going? It's possible. So check him out. Come up to your own conclusions. As far as the number 1 person on the list, he is the highlighted person for today's show, 6'5", Sonny Styles. If Dan Campbell is going to keep playing more or have us play more and more zone coverage, what Kelvin Shepard did a lot more of over the course of last season, then getting bigger, faster, stronger makes sense to me. You look at Sherman, Richard Sherman. Remember, him coming into the NFL draft was not considered a good cornerback option. Why? Is the combine numbers were not very good. He didn't run the 40 very fast. There's a lot of different reasons. I think you guys understand that. With all that being said, though, he's a big dude to throw over. Richard Sherman, that is. So if the Lions are going to employ more zone coverage, zone blitz, anything like that, think about having Styles next to Jack Campbell. Those two guys are big bodies to have to consistently throw over if you can get in the quarterback's face. It's, speed isn't everything, size isn't everything, but like I often say, it's a whole lot better to have that stuff and then not have it and need it. And if you put those two next to each other, we talk about the Super Bowl a lot on this show. What you saw both out of the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks, a lot of linebacker blitzes, outside blitzes, X blitzes, interior switches, things to confuse offensive linemen. Well, if you can do that with Jack Campbell and in this scenario, Sonny Styles, man, you've got two big guys that can bat passes, get after the quarterback, fill holes and gaps, getting to the into the backfield faster and faster. It's a game of inches. We all know it if we paid attention. You're either half second too late or too soon. How many times have we seen a ball batted up in the air? Man, if we're just a little bit faster, could get to it. Man, if I was just a little bit taller, I could get to that pass. I mean, you guys get where I'm going with all this. So is Sonny Styles the number one option for Detroit? I don't know. But I'd say he's definitely going to be on a lot of teams' interest list because of what you just saw. The physical skills, I beat it up ad nauseum on the show already. But a guy 6'5", 250 pounds that runs that fast, jumps that high, can hit. The fact that he used to be a safety, and if you look at all the safety scores we've been mentioning already in this top 15 list, you see a lot of similarities. Now, he's mass body index a lot bigger than those safeties, probably 30 pounds on average bigger than most of those guys, maybe 20 pounds, but you get it. He's a bigger guy. He's going to give, if you're going to move on from Alex Anzalone, he's not a bad replacement, in my humble opinion, because he's going to be able to take on tight ends. And I've talked about some of these tight end scores. You get somebody who's fast enough to cover them and big enough to cover them while being able to take on maybe some running backs out of the backfield, maybe even in some rare situations line up with slot receivers. Again, in zone coverage, I don't think it's a bad option. Now, are the Lions going to do it? Who knows? We'll find out and come to the draft. But I do think if you pay attention to the draft, I know I mentioned it before, if the Lions were to go for him, I think the number one team you're going to have to compete with is at number 12 currently. That's the Dallas Cowboys. There are going to be some other teams between you and 17 that potentially could go after him. So if you really want him, you might have to trade up slightly. All right, I've thrown a whole lot of combine numbers, names, interests at you guys. At the end of the day, where do you best guess that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell go? You're still got some of the combine left. You're still going to see some positions of interest for Detroit, because the Lions could go offensive line. They could go safety. They could go linebacker. They could go defensive end. I do not think they're going quarterback. I don't think they're going running back. I don't think they're going to go tight end. I'm trying to think of anything else that maybe you could take off the list. I don't think they're going punter or kicker in round 1 or 2 either. So that being said, let's go over to the Duke Crew comment section, see what you guys have to say. I've got about 6 minutes, then I got to get out of here. So I'll get as many of you guys in as I possibly can. All right, Bo is starting us off with good morning, Duke Crew. Are we going to be styling? Ooh, see what you did there. Exclamation point. Woo, back at you. Rob Hawk, what's shaking, Coach and Duke Crew? Not too much, man. Just up and at it this morning. Riley, good morning, Duke Crew. Exclamation point. Coach Dan is strong with 100% Bo Booth and Rob Hawk. Hey, we like to hang out all the time, every morning. Morning, Riley, says Rob Hawk. Bo, early to rise, Riley. Yes, it is awfully early where you are out in Utah. No doubt about that. Drady, Styles showed off in the combine, solidifying him as a top 10 pick. I think. Good luck to the Lions getting him. Yeah, and I do think those numbers are going to – every NFL GM or scouting department is probably aware of the kid, but the numbers, it's like watching the lottery. Somebody's now going to get a little bit more enticed, or maybe eBay's a better example. Somebody's bidding on something. Well, maybe I got to bid more than I really wanted to go get it. See what shakes. All right, Silver Sir, good morning, Coach, and all Lions faithful. Back at you. Vincent, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Woo! With an exclamation point. Conan the Barbarian. Who do we need? I think there's a lot of people at the combine that we like. Whether or not it's Sonny Styles, I don't know. But as a coach only, I can say I would not be complaining about getting him. All right, Andy Moore, good morning, Coach Dan, the Duke Crew. What a team. What a podcast. Exclamation point. What a time to be a Lions fan. Woo! Always a pleasure to have you. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. After watching the combine highlights a little, it's looking like some of the areas of need have great athletes. Yes, for the Detroit Lions, yeah, I think there's a lot of things that could line up for us. If you get enough picks, maybe we can grab a few more. But I really think the Lions' primary focus this year in the draft needs to be to get 3 guys who come in right away and play. All right, Hookadoo. Great morning, Duke Crew. One Pride. Who do we need and when can he start? We'll find out. Maybe the day after the draft, they can all start. Henry Moore, good morning. Bo, Silver, and Conan, all the above. Jeff, are there any TA updates? Not really, since we chatted about it yesterday. I had nothing really big. Henry Moore, good morning, my friend Hookadoo. Man of grit, you're not wrong there. Jeff, I'm worried we need to add corners now more than ever. You might be right. I mean, if something happens with Terrion Arnold and he's not available to us, Lions are going to have to address that real fast. Free agency, draft, etc. Same old soup. Good morning, Coach Dan, the Duke Crew. Like number 8. Thank you for that. Silver Server. And let's see. And good morning, Henry Moore, Bo, Dre Day, Conan the Barbarian, Riley O'Brien. Everybody on the list. Hookadoo. Good morning, Riley, Henry, Bo, Silver, Rob. Grit wins games. Exclamation point. Grit wins. Yes, indeed. Silver Server. Good morning, Hookadoo. Bo. I like what Fernando Mendoza said. It's football, football, football first. Exclamation point. You got to like that if you're a football coach. No doubt about it. Rob Hawk. Morning, Hookadoo. Grady, nothing new on TA besides his lawyer saying he denies all knowledge of the situation. Yeah, put that out there. I know we mentioned it a little bit yesterday and went over it, but yeah, I don't think we're going to get anything new until maybe next week or even a couple weeks from now. So let's see, David, what do you got? In your opinion, we need to trade back, add more picks. This team has some real needs. I'll go there. Morning Silver Server says, trading. Just greetings, salutations, Duke Crew. Coach, you've been hyping the OSU linebacker, and after watching him, his numbers come out. Yes, yeah, they pop out, don't they? And hey, look at these comparisons alone to some of the people on the list, and you look at that, come out with this, you got something there for sure. Now, whether or not he's a good enough football player, that's up to the coaches to ascertain. Server, what do you got? Sonny Styles, question mark. Somebody says he might drop. Do you believe it? We'll find out. Well, Lions can always get the brother Lorenzo and his 4.28 40-yard dash time in day 3. In the 6th round, perhaps. We'll find out. I don't know. Jen, good morning, all. Exclamation point. I've been watching the combine. So many options to choose from. Let's go, Brandon Dan. Yes, and this is where, hey, you got to really trust your scouts. You trust your scouts to make sure they have those little details that tell you the difference between this player or that player so you make the right pick. You know, Lions have had a whole lot of success in the draft. We can all probably agree the 24 draft didn't go well. Last year's draft, it's probably up in the air. Give it another year before we really have a firm understanding of it. Ratledge, probably most people would say, done well. Tesla seems like he's got some ability. Love it. If you trust St. Brown and Jameson Williams, this kid's developing. And then it comes down to, Tyleik Williams. Did you get enough out of him, especially for a first-round pick at pick 28? Give him another year or two to really know. At that point, you got something or you don't got something. Jimmy, greetings, salutations, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. How's everyone doing today? Not too bad. How about you? Drake, that safety from Toledo caught my eye. I think Coach had us taking him in his mock. If it's the same guy I'm thinking of, then yeah, it was round 3 or something like that. 4, maybe, somewhere in there. Maybe it was round 2. I would have to go back and check. Server, good morning. Jen, back at you. Denver, we don't need him. But do we want him? That's a question. Jen, Server, Sonny Styles will not fall to us. We have to go get him. But his brother might day 2 in the draft. Could be, 100%, yeah. Well, how about get them both? There's an idea. Let's see, Dave, we need him. I'll take that. Server, good morning. James, exclamation point. Don Burr, we need healthy football players. I would agree. Yeah, you don't want to get people that aren't healthy because then you can't use them. Jess, is he not healthy, Don Burr? Who should we take? As far as I know, he's healthy. I mean, he was obviously running and doing stuff at the combine, so I would assume his health's okay. But like I often say on the show, every football player has got injuries. I mean, you don't make it through high school, college, and into the pros if you haven't had some level of injury at some point. David, greetings, salutations, Coach and Duke Crew. Woo! And good to see you. Dre Day, could you imagine Styles and Tyleik playing together again? That would be so dangerous. It would be. Hookadoo, James and Jen, good morning. You're feeling better, James? Let's hope so with a question mark. And Jen, today offensive line is going to happen. Looking at a couple left tackles and a couple centers. Exclamation point, I would do just that. Jen, good morning, Henry and Silver. Don Burr, not falling in love with guys running fast in shorts. Exclamation point. Branch fell to us because he didn't run the 4.140. Yes, that's not a mistake. It is probably why he fell to round 2. All right, what do you got, Jimmy? There's been more updates on Terran Arnold saga in Florida? Nothing since yesterday. Nothing new. How about that? So, Jen, I didn't hear much about Lorenzo as a football player, but apparently nothing so special. Could be. Susan, good morning, all. Back at you. 9 drinks. Good morning, Dooku, and back at you. I know you're winding down your day. How about that? Johnny, what do you got? Good morning, folks. And how is everybody doing? We'll find out. Don Burr, if you think Sonny Styles is falling to 17, you don't know ball. If you trade up, it will cost you the farm. Skip it. Well, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Queen Mary, good morning, Duke Crew. Happy Sunday. And back at you. Good morning, Queen Mary, says Jimmy. Johnny, who's that in the picture? And knowing's half the battle, my friend. It is Sonny Styles. Jimmy, good morning, Hoogadoo. Jen, server. Lorenzo is a project and a good pick in later rounds, but we have other needs. We do have some needs. Hoogadoo, good morning, Queen Mary and the ladies of the Duke Crew. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Ready, Don Burr. What about 40-plus vertical and the 11-foot long jump? Does that get your interest a little bit? I would assume so. Don Burr, nope, I like football players. So he's not a football player? I guess I don't understand. He plays football. Let's see, Drady. Doubt he falls 17, but man, what an athlete. Yeah, incredible athlete. Amy, good morning, our wonderful coach Dan and the unique Duke Crew. Exclamation point. Good morning, Silver Server, Bo Booth, Hoogadoo, Riley, Jen, Johnny, Susan Scott, Don Burr, Queen Mary, Go Lions. Exclamation point. I'll take that. Anthony Richards was an athlete. It's true. And so was, I don't know, so was, oh gosh, what I want to say, Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush was an athlete too. Worked out well for him. Same with Jamal Charles, and you can probably go on through a lot of people. How about Deion Sanders? Deion Sanders is an athlete. Let's see, Queen Mary. Good morning, my brothers James and Hoogadoo. Jen, good morning, Amy. Good morning, Mary, says Jen. Queen Mary, good morning, Johnny, Jen, Amy. Jimmy, good morning, Jen. Dre Day, true, but Anthony Richards played for Florida. I kind of trust player caliber from Ohio then. Okay, yeah, Ohio State players, yeah. Johnny, good morning, Queen Mary. Amy, Jen, and all the other beautiful women on the show. We do have a few. Xavier, good morning, Coach Dan and the Mighty Duke Crew. I hope everyone has a blessed day. Excellent. I was wondering if you can send me your wife's program. She has. Who is this in the thumbnail? Go Lions. All right, so if you want the wife's information, maybe take a screenshot real quick, jensavagefitness.com, or you can get my number off the bottom of the screen. Shoot me a text and I'll get you her information for sure. But if you want peptides information, yeah, check that out. All right, let me get back onto the screen. I'm not sure exactly where I left off, so go. Okay, yep. All right, the Sonny Styles in the thumbnail. All right, so Scott, Don Burr, so is Barry and Kelvin. Sue, so to your point, don't draft athletes for an athletic event. Fair question. Hookadoo, good morning, Johnny. I'm not sure who it is. Now you know. And again, no one's has about Don Burr. He named 3 players out of a million. Who named 3 players out of a million? I guess I don't know. Let's see. Henry Moore. Good morning, Jen, Queen Mary, Susan. May your days be great. Let's hope so. Johnny, great morning to you also, Hookadoo. Queen Mary, you have some decisions to make. We have a really good draft class this year. I got about 5 players so far on my board. What about y'all? We'll find out. As far as the Lions, I think there's 3 players I really like, and one's on offense, 2 are on defense, but the board will change as the draft goes. Any more? Good morning, Johnny. Jen, good morning, Jimmy, Johnny, Susan, Xavier, Hoogadoo, Drady, Henry, Steve Rogers, Don Burr. So you're looking for less athletic people to play against more athletic players. Could be. Silver Star Jimmy couldn't be not so good. Those thieves must have known something. Finding $100,000 cash, the jewelry, the guns. Looks like TA could have been playing Scarface. I hope not. Yeah, I don't know. Not enough details yet. Don Burr, Aaron Curry, Darius, Bay crushed the combine. And how'd that go? Well, Don Burr, but to that point, if you want to say, well, one guy who had an athletic score that didn't work, can he find somebody who had an athletic score that did work? I mean, you could go, tick for tat for this. Every time somebody puts up numbers, it's going to catch attention. But if you're saying numbers don't matter, then why have the combine? I don't know, man. I would just say there's a whole lot of evidence both directions. And again, this is also why I say you need to have an interview process with players so you can determine their personality traits. That, to me, has a big confirmation on if you got something or not. All right, Johnny, what do you got? Good morning, Henry. How are you doing today? Question mark. We'll find out. Hey, what's this? Rob, hey, thank you for that, man. I'll make sure I enjoy a delicious Mountain Dew and maybe even a hot dog and leave Bobby a tip. time to head out. Exclamation point. Have a talking do on me and the crew. Have a great day, folks. Thank you for that very much, my friend. Jay, let's give you a proper reward. Let's give you a 1, 2, and a 3. Have a great day, my friend. All right, any more? Me, myself, and I are just peachy, Johnny. Hey, good to hear. Pat, Styles is an option, no doubt. There are many available to us. I concur with that. Mary, good morning, Xavier. And you don't know who that stud is. Hopefully, he'll be in a Detroit Lions jersey. Just saying. Yeah, I like him. I understand why some people maybe don't, but I'd rather have somebody like that you can manipulate on defense a little bit. Pull coverage somewhere else, free up other people because he can't teach size and speed. All right, number, I'm looking for football players, IQ, instincts, fast on play, reaction, etc. So, Don, I'm just trying to give you just due here. Are you saying Sonny Styles doesn't have that stuff? Because I'm not sure, I guess, what your point is. Or, just let me know, man. Sorry for the question. All right, okay, later, Rob. Have a go to. I concur. Black Jared Jones, good morning. Duke Crew. Queen Mary, good morning. Henry, how are you feeling today? We'll find out. Trey Apple, Jack Campbell, Downborough. Also, you're saying Styles isn't a football player. Yeah, I'm not sure where we're going with that. Silver, and good morning to Amy, Susan, and Mary Smith. Exclamation point. Henry Moore, Senior, all three of us agree. It's great to be a Lions fan. I'll go with that. Yeah, 100%. Phil, good morning. Good morning, Phil. New thumbnail picture for sure. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. Good to see you. Silver, looks like another Lions offseason. Remember Sutton? Question mark. Right before the draft. Now it's TA. Hey, yeah, 100%. There are some comparisons. They were both corners, right? Dale, good morning from the Philippines. Looks like the team. It looks like the team indeed. Well, man, we've got a couple of people watching for the Philippines for sure. Seems like there's 2 or 3. Johnny, showtime. Peace out. See you all tomorrow. We'll see you then. Queen Mary, good morning, Silver. Styles won't be there at 17. Wake up. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, I think the Cowboys right around 12 is probably where it starts getting interesting. Obviously, you could go to somebody else before that, but that's where I would say, 10 to 12 is probably where you're starting to watch the Styles watch. Click down. Dale, will prosper. Let's hope we do. Silver, good morning, Johnny and Tori. Hey, have a great one. Jen, Silver, I hope the Lions learn not to jump to conclusions like they don't with something. Yes, don't jump to an early conclusion. I was talking about that. Actually, that was a couple people yesterday. And, until you get the full details, I get it. We always want, as a society or as just humanity, we always want to make quick decisions and jump on people. Sutton situation maybe wasn't exactly what everybody thought, and maybe the Lions maybe jumped the gun a little bit. All right, Big D, hope he's not talking about Styles again. We did talk about him. And to be fair, we talked about 15 options. Southwest, greetings, sad taste of Jew Crew. Woo! Go Lions. Back at you. Damon, good combine Sunday morning to all, and back at you. Grady, some people think he might make it to the bottom 30, but I doubt Styles will as well. I concur. Detroit D, good morning, Duke Crew, and at you. Big D, Styles won't make it past the first 7 picks. Maybe, yeah. Phil, like and sub, please. Thank you for that. Earl, hey, good to see you, Earl. It's been a hot minute. Good morning, Duke Crew. Big D, I see that the chat with my boy from Georgia, Freeland, I believe is his name. I could be. Yeah, they did chat with him. Yeah, 100%. Silver, I agree, but this looks way worse than Sutton, and definitely the level of wit with the videotaping of the whole thing. Believe the Lions already know what really happened and what the consequences will be. So for those who don't know, again, talking with some people yesterday about it, the NFL and each team in the NFL have their own investigative personnel. They've probably already been digging into this thing for a week or so. The good thing I would say now for Terry Arnold is that his representation or his lawyer has come out and said he vehemently denies it. The longer he stayed quiet and didn't talk about it all, that would concern me. I get it's a legal representation, a lawyer's job to say my client's innocent. Now, can they confirm that? I haven't seen the video, Silver Surfer, so maybe you can comment on the comment section about it. But if it doesn't show Terry and Arnold there, I think a lot of it's going to come down to he said, she said. Well, he said he was there, but if he wasn't there, and I know there's a text saying we have to hold him until TA gets there, and then TA allegedly was never there. So, it's a lot of finger pointing unless we get more information that either corroborates he was involved or proves he wasn't. And right now, I just don't have enough information to say what did or did not happen. Silver, That was for Jen. Okay, Vito, great show, Dan. Thank you very much. Hey, thank you for being a part of the Duke crew. Queen Mary, Coach, his brother isn't bad either. Junior ain't no joke, and I'm happy to have one of them or both. Just saying, I would be too. So, and again, haven't interviewed them both, but I like what I'm seeing so far. Riley Bryan is Silver Surfer strong. 9 drinks. Find Micro Mike his studio. I'm seeing what I can do with that. 100% there. Silver Surfer strong. Riley Bryan, Mary Smith, Coach Dan the man. Thank you for that, Riley. You're the man. Let's see. Miles Marker, Grip Morning All. Back at you. Queen Mary. Good morning, Riley. Jen. So Silver Surfer does look bad, but we have to slow it down a bit. TA has not been charged. No, he hasn't been charged with anything. So until he does, I mean, we're blaming him for being guilty because of an accusation. And to me, I've just covered too many things. I get a lot of times people end up being guilty, but then you get the other 40% of the time where somebody's charged or accused of something, and then we find out, we get all the information, and yes, they were falsely accused or unjustly judged by the public opinion. So I try to hold back. All right, Sonny Styles just put up a whole lot of money in his pockets. Probably did with those numbers. Somebody's going to pay him for sure. And good morning to you, Damon. Good morning, Miles Marger. Big D, though. Both the Ohio State linebackers ran the same 40-yard dash time, similar to the stats. Also, both are freaks. Yeah, I agree with that. Tease Tabor. Thank you, Bo Booth. Thank you for that. Miles Marger, hi, Hookadoo. Hope you're good. There you go. Paperback fan. Haven't seen you in a hot minute, my friend. Yes, Tease Tabor. Yeah, he could cover, but you're talking a different level from college to the NFL. Everybody gets so much faster. And I get athleticism isn't everything, but if you don't have it, does it show when you don't have it? Let's see, Motown Mitch, Tease Tabor, thank you for that. I like Trade McBride too. Thank you for that, Queen Mary. Motown Mitch, I dream before I die, I see a true shutdown cornerback in the Lions uniform. Sadly, don't think I'll ever get to. Well, could be, man, could be. Ray Crockett was not bad. He could eliminate a lot of the field. I say that, and then he got burnt for, what's his name? Sterling Sharp's touchdown to the opposite side of the field in the 94 playoff game. Brett Favre went deep. Lions Talk Live fan, get Caleb Downs. I know he's a person of interest for sure. Motor City Poly, Dan said in his combine interview that they were not switching schemes to 13 personnel, and the Drew was working on learning the Lions verbiage, not the Lions learning Drew's verbiage. Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for that. My money, what do you got? Please, Brad, do not draft a corner in the first round. Your track record for corners isn't the best. It's probably a fair analysis of the situation. Silver Server, because of the money involved, the preparation for the 40 yards is becoming one of a professional sprinter. They might have gained a few tenths of a second, but it doesn't make them better players. No, it just means they've got wheels. That's about it. All right, guys, I'm already into overtime here, so I'm going to power through for about another 5 minutes, give you a little more overtime, but I'm going to get people on who haven't been on as much. They might get a quarterback as a walk-on. Could be. Motor City. Sonny Styles is going top 5. Not even sure why we keep talking about. We'll find out, man. Well, that I don't know. So, let's see, Silver Jen, I hope it stays like that for him, who will learn for sure for his family and the Lions. Easy, draft left tackle and put him at guard for the season. That could be something they do, especially if you're talking Proctor. I think that could be a potential. Say, David, Lions draft wide receiver. I'm going to be very disappointed. Let's hope if they do it, it's not in the first, 29 rounds. Jen, Slaughter's the center, and if we don't get one in free agency, it might be a good draft pick. Could be. J-Mo, Lion King, what do you got? Coach, you were talking about T-State. Yes, yeah. And again, there can be a difference between playing time and speed and what you see in the tape, but I just didn't think he was fast, period. That was just my opinion, though. Cornerback depth is my focus, says David. Let's see. Easy. Left tackle, defensive end, tight end, safety, corner, guard, center, and linebacker. All of the above. Hookadoo, good morning. Lauren, Trim Reaver, good morning. Coach Dan, the Mighty Duke Crew, exclamation point. Let's go, Lions. Woo! Lauren, Hookadoo, good morning, brother. Thomas, to me, if you don't have actual game film, the Underwear Olympics is important, but getting to know your draft picks is the most important. Yeah. The Pajama Olympics, it's there just to give you numbers, but you need to confirm those numbers with what you see in a player on the field. I agree with you 100% there. Ray, good morning, Lions fam. Back at you. Dennis, good morning, Dan Duke Crew. And always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Gabriel, let the Giants draft him and then Lions trade for Kayvon Thibodeaux. Could be something they do. Henry Moore, Yeah, I quote, that player sits in the top 10. What y'all gonna do? Just let him go. Yeah, he's not probably gonna overly trade for him. Dre Day, if Styles moves past 10, trade up for possible to get him. Yeah, see if you can trade him and get him if you want him. Phil, the price for running backs seems to be going down. Should we move Gibbs for draft picks or and draft a running back? Running back. It could be. It could be that they do that, but I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to resign Gibbs, but wait and see what shakes out. All right, looking for other people. I haven't been on as much, Bo. Happy trails, Dude Crew. All done, dusted for another week. See you tomorrow. We'll see you then. Don Burr, be nice. It's Phil. Be nice, Don Burr. All right. Was he being not nice? I don't know. Duncan, he gets interceptions. I like him already. Terry Arnold is a multimillionaire. Why is he kidnapping people for $100K in property? I don't know if he did, and that's the thing. There's accusations, but are they confirmed? Until they are, I'm going to say, wait and get all the details. As Loma, Utah offensive lineman could be a person of interest. Henry Moore, doesn't Styles remind you for first round Johnson? Could be. Independent Augment, wow, your stream super early on Sundays too? Go Lions. 7 days a week, my friend. Let's see, Thomas, elbow the like y'all with an exclamation point at the thumbs up. Thank you for that. Trim Reaper, have a great day. Coach the New Crew, woo, back at you. Peter Woods, defensive tackle or defensive lineman. How about that? I'll check him out. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get on here, get ready for the rest of the day. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Hitting that like and subscribe button helps out a lot, as you probably know. Otherwise, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Do something kind for somebody you know. Be a good human being. If there is breaking news, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. Take care, and we'll see you guys all in the next Lions Talk Live. Have a phenomenal day, everybody. You're still here? What are you doing here? It's over. The show's over. Go home.